guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina for another episode of our Sunday night live stream show. That's right, y'all. It's Sunday night and it's time for that live stream show. Hopefully you're ready for a great show, and hopefully the internet will persist for us. We had a little bit of a rocky start there, but it seems to have hopefully cleared up. We have some weather in the area, which generally makes it a little bit trickier. Don't know what continues to persist with our internet issues, but we thought we had them sorted out. We had a good show last week, so I'm hoping and praying and keeping fingers and toes crossed that it'll go well tonight. But want to give a shout out to those of you who have sent stars thus far. Unfortunately, we were kind of scrambling there, so didn't really get to follow it super closely, so apologize for that. But definitely appreciate all those of you who have sent stars. It is incredibly supportive, and definitely really appreciated, guys. Basically, for those of you watching on Instagram or YouTube, stars are a way for those watching on Facebook to kind of show their support, and it helps kind of fuel the show. Tegwin Stockdale, appreciate those 100 stars. Adam Franklin with 500 stars. Thank you so much, guys. Richard Blazak with 100. David Altimos with 200. Tegwin Stockdale again with 100. Thank you so much, y'all. As I said, super appreciated, and really helps us out quite a bit. Also, big shout out to our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle. Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South. If you haven't checked out our good friends Gator Gyms, make sure you do so. They bring you this live show. This show is brought to you by our friends over there at Gator Gym. So make sure you stop in, tell them hello, tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you, and definitely check them out. You don't want to miss a chance to see our friends over at Gator Gyms. Crazy good stuff. Really good people over there. So check them out. Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Patricia Whitehead and Chris Aline, appreciate those stars. Really appreciate it as well. Now, we are going to get rolling here and talk a little bit about what's going on now, what's coming up, and what we've been catching. And then we're going to get into your questions. Remember, if you have questions, you can text them to that phone number right in front of my laptop there. That's the phone number you text in your questions. Kenny Weaver, appreciate those 200 stars, buddy. I appreciate you. Ryan Kelly with 50. Thank you so much, guys. Christine, hope you and Pete are doing well. Thanks for being a subscriber and part of our supporters group. Shout out to those supporters as well. Another great way to show your support for our live streams and make it easier for us to do a lot more of this cool stuff. David Pruitt, appreciate those 400 stars, buddy. Also, don't forget to comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Besides being a supporter and sending stars, you can help show your support for the show by liking the stream. Like the stream on Facebook. Give it a thumbs up on Instagram. Double tap on, or thumbs up on YouTube. Double tap on Instagram. Make sure you like our pages, follow our pages. Remember, guys, whenever you see a post from us at Hubbard's Marina, even if you don't intend to read it, even if you're just scrolling through your timeline quickly, like the post for us. And even if you put an emoji as a comment, whenever you like a post, it shows it to more people. When you like a post and comment on a post, it shows it to that many more people. So whenever you see Hubbard's Marina post something on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever, make sure you like it and comment for us. And if you want, even share it. That helps us reach even more people. And that's a huge way you could show your support and is super appreciated. Tim Dykes, appreciate those stars, buddy. Jeremy Yanowski, a couple times there. Louis Canaveri and Jeremy Yanowski. Again, appreciate y'all. Thank you so much, and appreciate your support. Greatly appreciated. So, Michael, Jimmy, thank you so much. And shout out to Mel over in the hospital. Hope you and the family are doing well. Hopefully, Baby comes quickly, smoothly, easily. Shout out to the Jimmy family and what you guys are enjoying in the hospital. And thank you for those 2,000 stars, Jimmy family. Michelle, what was that one? That one was fast. Michelle, Brian, Jeff Reedy, and Dan and Rich Fletcher with 530. Thank you so much, guys. Let's see here. So comment where you're watching from. Don't forget to give the video a like or a thumbs up and share it with your favorite fishing group or fishing channel. Subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget that. If you're watching on Instagram, you can pop over to your phone's browser. Look up Instagram on your phone's browser. When you're watching from the browser, you can turn the phone sideways and you'll see the full screen. Keep that in mind. If you're watching on the Instagram app, you're only going to see the center of the screen and not the full screen. If you want to win some free trips tonight, we're going to be giving away a 5-hour half day for 2 guests, a 10-hour all day for 2 guests, and a 39-hour trip for 1 guest, plus our Salinity Gear gift pack, which is a free Salinity Gear shirt and some stickers and some other cool stuff from our friends over at Salinity Gear. So lots of giveaways tonight. Make sure you comment at least one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream in order to be eligible to win that free stuff we're giving away. D Beers with 1,000 stars. Thank you so much, D Beers. Stephen Batchelor, appreciate you as well. Thank you. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about here? Oh, we got through all our intro stuff. Let's get into some fish and show you what we've been catching. We're going to start inshore and then work our way nearshore and offshore. First things first, inshore. We've been seeing a lot of black drum recently. Some really big black drum around local Bay Area bridges. Really, really thick numbers of black drum on deeper water-moving areas. Terra Verde Bridge, Sand Key Bridge, the bridges of Tampa Bay, all good areas to find those big black drum in high concentrations. As you can see here, our buddy Dan the Fishman catching some big black drum. Also, our buddy Dylan catching some nice black drum around another Bay Area bridge adjacent to some mangrove shorelines. Also, mangrove snapper, super thick throughout the entire area. On a bridge, dock, pier, jetty, anything at all with some structure, you're going to find plentiful mangrove snapper. Redfish action going well, too. Seeing a lot of redfish around some Bay Area mangrove shorelines, docks, any oyster bars. But mangrove shorelines, grass flats really been the hot spot. Nick Nieves with 1,200 stars. Appreciate you, Nick. Tony Barnes with 350. Thank you so much, Tony. Adrian Gazal, and appreciate you as well. Thank you, guys, for those stars. Let's see here. Some more redfish from our Salt Strong buddies. There's another one from a local Salt Strong Capt. The redfish action is going well throughout the area. Soft plastics on the flats going real well. Slower moving soft plastics. The dead bait up underneath the mangroves during the day. Under the dock lines, you can get those redfish skipping dead baits or a slow-moving soft plastic. Snook action going well around our Bay Area. The bigger fish definitely stacking up in the passes at night. Out on the beaches during the day, a lot of them starting to move near shore for some spawning. We're catching a lot of these kind of schooly, fun-sized trout throughout the area. Flats, mangrove shorelines, bridges, and structure areas with a little deeper moving water seems to hold the bigger snook for sure as of late. Triple tail, super thick in the area too. We're seeing a lot of triple tail on Bay Area markers, buoys, floating debris at the mouth of Tampa Bay. Good areas to look for triple tail. There's some late season tarpon around. This morning's live video saw a nice big old tarpon roll right in front of the Florida fishermen. A lot of sharks around inshore too, so good options to catch plenty of fish inshore. Now we're going to work our way near shore and show you guys what we've been catching near shore. The boat that came in this morning had a pile of yellowtail snapper. The yellowtail snapper bite has really turned on. We're catching a lot of those yellowtail snapper on small strips of squid, cut thread fins. We're seeing some good gag grouper action, solid mangrove snapper. A lot of the big mangroves on this last trip were on live pinfish. Will caught the biggest mangrove snapper of the trip on a new jig we're going to talk about here shortly too. Some nice solid red grouper action. They caught over 40 keeper red grouper. They got a handful of gags, plentiful yellowtail snapper and a pretty good large average size. Got some nice vermilions, porgies, almacos, and more. So even though red snapper is closed, we caught a lot of good eating fish. Now, we do have some red snapper photos to show you from our last few red snapper trips, which we will sprinkle in here as well, because we definitely want to showcase our end of red snapper season. We got some big fat red grouper, gag grouper. The red snapper were good to us even through the end of our red snapper season. This is a nearshore gag on the hub and catching some of those nearshore gag grouper, nearshore red grouper. This past week, we caught a lot of African pompano on the 39-hour trips, the 12-hour extreme trips. We saw some African pompano action. Big scamp grouper, definitely cool to see. And it was good to see Richie Sipple back out in the boat. He worked with us for a great number of years and then retired, but he is still out fishing occasionally, as you can see, catching big fish. Also caught some nice mutton snapper recently on those long-range trips at night. So you never know what you're going to catch. Just because red snapper is closed doesn't mean there's not still plenty of fish to go out there and get. The blackfin tuna bite's been pretty good. We're real focused on those red grouper before they close end of day August 29th. So we still got some time for those red grouper. Triggerfish are still open too. Gags, big gags coming up still. So we're focused red grouper, gag grouper, triggerfish, mangroves, yellowtails, vermilions, porgies, almacos, tuna. But there's plenty more out there. You just never know what you're going to catch when you're offshore deep sea fishing. So red snapper is over now, but plenty of meat. So that is a segue to what I wanted to make sure I emphasize tonight. We've got a super light 39-hour trip coming up Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Captain Garrett Hubbard is taking out an extremely light 39-hour trip. Right now, there's only about, I think, 13 or 15 people going. We just need one or two more to make that trip happen. Definitely excited for that. Captain Garrett, the boys are looking forward to some lighter loads, and we got them. Kids are back to school. Red snapper season is over, and because of that, numbers have dwindled extremely. So now we've gone from sold-out trips to just a handful of people going out. Today's 10-hour trip only had 30 people on it. So super light loads. The 39-hour trip Tuesday, we're going to go if we got 16, 17 people on it, and would like to have more like 20 because we like to have some lines in the water, bait in the water, get some smell going. So we only need a few more people to make that work. So if you want to go fishing Tuesday with Captain Garrett, who's on a hot streak, catching a lot of big fish, you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. Tuesday, you're going to have a lot of one-on-one time with Captain Garrett and Will and the crew because there's such a light load. So if you thought about doing a 39-hour trip, if you've done them in the past and you enjoy them and you're available, this Tuesday is the trip to go on. You do not want to miss that super light load. The rest of August, we've got more 39-hour trips, but most of them are 35, 40 people. That's why we added this Tuesday in there. It's a new trip because we wanted to try to give people an opportunity to go on lighter loads. There's no reason to go on a trip with 35, 40, 45 people when you've got light load options. So definitely think about joining us this Tuesday for that extremely light load trip. Tuesday, you can jig, you can flatline, you can do whatever you want because there's tons of room. You can literally fish 15 feet away from anybody else. There's still 4 stern spots open. There's a lot of spots up in the bow open. Virtually the whole boat is open. There's tons of inside bunks available, lots of one-on-one time with the captain and crew. You don't want to miss this Tuesday's 39-hour trip with Captain Garrett. You're going to be sad if you miss out, let me tell you. Plus, I want to mention our brand new selection of lures. We've got Oni Works jigs in. We've got Cast Co. Fishing Company jigs in. We've got some new Mustad jigs in, and besides the new slow pitch jigs, we've got new slow pitch rods from Mustad, some $100, $120, $140 setups. So we've got cheaper options from Mustad for slow pitch jigging rods. Plus, we've got the new Mustad Inkvader octopus jigs. Absolutely incredible octopus jigs. You do not want to miss these. I gave one to Will to take out on this 39-hour trip, and at a stop where no one on the boat caught mangroves, Will dropped it down, caught himself 3 mangrove snapper, bam, 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 back-to-back mangrove snapper. He caught scamp grouper with it, red grouper with it, just absolutely stroked the fish. Even John Boy dropped it down and caught himself a porgy. That's how you know it works. So definitely a really cool jig that is working out well for us. And we've got a huge variety and a variety of colors and sizes. So you don't want to miss the chance to use that new octopus jig we have. It's going to be pretty bad to the bone, and it's going to produce a lot of fish for us. So check it out next time you're in the shop. Mustad Inkvader jigs. We're one of the only shops in the area to carry it, and we've got a huge selection and a huge variety of sizes. So stop by the shop, check out some of our new jigs. Also, Nick Nieves, appreciate those 1,200 stars, buddy. Thank you so much, man. Let's see here. What other stuff do we have to talk about before we get into your questions? Events. We had a Bass Pro Shops fishing conversation today. It went really well. It was a great time. Thank you for all of those of you who came out to join us. It was really, really fun. Also, we've got another fishing conversation coming up September 13th. September 13th at Krabby's on the Pass. That's the Old Salt fishing conversation. You don't want to miss out on that. Krabby's on the Pass, September 13th, 7 p.m. So check it out. Ryan Kelly, appreciate those stars. Thank you so much. And someone was asking about me calling their boss to get them off of work to go fishing. If you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Life is short. Get out there and go fishing. And, yeah, you can wear a mask. No one will even know you're there. Psh, you come back sunburned. It's no big deal. That's easy to explain.
Fell asleep outside.
Fell asleep outside. I was really sick. And, yeah, Josh has got your back. He's got all the excuses.
Yeah.
He can call your boss. He can do a lot of voices. He'll get that straightened out for you in our jiffy.
Yeah, do you want, we'll just contact me. We'll work.
Pirate, Russian, mobster. He's got a plethora of voiceover options that he can use.
And if you guys need any voiceover work, please contact Hubbard's Media today.
$125 a minute. Finished edited product. That's funny. All right, so let's get into some questions. What do you guys want to know about? What do you want to talk about tonight? Let's make this a fishing conversation. And look at that. Speaking of the devil, Captain Mike Anderson, all the way from Vero Beach. He's at a softball tournament right now, and he remembered to call in, which is kind of impressive that even from out of town on a softball tournament, he remembered to call into the live show and give us our Inshore update. So let us get connected here, and we'll have Captain Mike hook us up with that Inshore report. What's going on, Captain Mike? How are you?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
Doing good, man. I didn't text you because I figured for sure you'd be busy with your softball stuff going on. Did you win today?
We went 1-1 today, 0-2 yesterday. Pretty tough weekend, but we had some fun and played some ball. And at my age, the fact that I can play ball is a bonus.
All right, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen you hit a baseball. I feel bad for that softball.
Yeah, we had a good time, my friend. We had a good time, and I hit well, and we'll get ready for next month, and it's all good.
All right.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, that's good. How about the inshore fishing this week? I know you were out in the water a little bit. How'd that go?
Well, last week was a little tough. We had that west wind, and with those west winds, you get those a lot of times, especially right there, St. Pete along the coast, you get those early morning storms, and that's what we had. So we had to bob and weave and kind of protect our customers from the weather a little bit. Couldn't get too far from the marina, and the bite was a little bit of a struggle. We caught some nice trout, and we caught some redfish, and some we did a little triple tail fishing. It wasn't too bad, but it wasn't great. We weren't on the best tides. But the good news is, as we roll into this week coming up, that's going to change.
Yeah,
the tides start to pick up right away. Yeah, the new moon tides are going to be fantastic. So looking forward to some more really good fishing. Got a few reports that a couple of more giant schools of redfish showed up on the inshore side, some on the cockroach side, some on the St. Pete side. So that's always exciting. I anticipate that will get better as these tides increase, especially with the bigger tides. You're going to get more and more fish moving around. You'll get some of these redfish moving in from offshore. So it should peak out towards the end of the week. I think it's going to be really, really good. This new moon, the new moon's always my favorite moon because that, dark night that it gives you. And I think it's going to be pretty spectacular over about the next 2 weeks.
So new moon incoming, full moon outgoing, right?
Absolutely. 100%. It's going to be the incoming. Absolutely. It's going to be the incoming tide here for the next, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 days.
It was
Should
funny
be pretty good.
On the radio show Saturday with Captain Travis Thompson as our guest while you were out. He actually prompted that because I was talking about the new moon coming up. And he was like, well, Mike's not here, so I feel like I have to say it. New moon incoming, full moon outgoing. I was like, all right,
exactly.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
that's actually from the great Rodney Martin, Captain Rodney Martin, who I don't think he guides a lot anymore, but he was a little bit of a mentor to me when I first got in the business, and he's the one that told me that.
okay.
And I wrote it down on a Post-it, and it's still up in my office, right in the same place I put it.
That's awesome.
So that I always pay attention to that. And it was interesting because when I first heard it, I thought, whatever, dude, you crazy. Come on, man. Is that really? And if you pay attention to it, that's really how that bite works. It's pretty, we sometimes we overthink things, but it's pretty much that simple. When you're in the full moon cycle, it's going to be an outgoing bite is just a little better. Doesn't mean you can't catch them on the incoming, but that outgoing bite is better. And on the new moon, the incoming is just a better bite. It's just the way it works.
There it is. So this coming week, we got the new moon coming up, more moving water. Should be a good incoming bite. And got a lot of freshwater influx from a lot of rain. I had a good question today during our Bass Pro fishing conversation that I would like to pass along to you and see what you say. When it rains heavily and you get that big freshwater flux and a lot of freshwater pushing into the back bay, does that excite the fish? In my opinion, it seems like it would make the water move more, gets the bait and the crabs flushing, so it makes the fish feed more, right?
Well, I'm not a huge fan on the west coast of Florida of dirty water.
True.
Our fish like clean water. Now, with that being said, I'm going to drop a grenade on you.
Uh-oh.
Okay? Yes, this is a very interesting thing that a couple of legends taught me. And as soon as they said it and you think about it, it made a ton of sense.
Okay.
And that is redfish when you get a ton of rain,
Mm-hmm.
they put their nose into that water. So your areas in the upper bay, like just north of the Courtney Campbell, up towards the Alphi, towards the Palm River, things like that, where you have a really, really high concentration of fresh water because it dumps into the bay up there big time.
Okay.
Redfish will put their nose into that fresh water and they will go towards it.
Huh.
And I believe what I've been told from, again, some really, really great fishermen is that fresh water, all that rain flushes them crabs out of them trees.
Yeah.
And puts them in the water, puts them in the grass.
Mm-hmm.
And they go up there to feed heavy on those crabs.
Okay. So redfish swim towards that fresh water.
And what's interesting is, back in my redfish tournament days, really towards the end, it was towards the end of my redfish tournament career when Captain Scott Moore and Captain Jamie Goodwin mentioned, it was funny because Captain Jamie mentioned it to me one day, and 3 days later I was on the phone with Captain Scott Moore, and Scott said the same thing. And I thought, well, there you have it. Two of the best I know in the business. Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that's funny is when I started to put the math together, the last few tournaments that I fished were September, October events, and there was huge schools of redfish in the north end of the bay.
There you go.
So it's something that, if you're an angler who fishes different locations a lot, doesn't fish the same body of water a lot, you like to go where the fish are, September, October, north of the Courtney Campbell, really, really fishy, especially for big schools of redfish. Now, the problem you run into this time of year is finding slot fish. If you just want to go catch fish, then, it's not a big deal, because whether they're slot fish or oversized, you don't really care.
So you're saying they're too big.
We get a really good push of oversized fish. A lot of the fish that pushed in this last week ahead of this moon, which I thought was interesting because I would have expected them to hold off a little bit until later this week when those tides got right.
Yeah.
But we did have a couple schools that I got. Some buddies told me, hey, there's a big school here, big school there. Those fish just showed up and they were all oversized. So, which to me is exciting because I do too. I like that big oversized school. You're catching, 30 to 35 inch fish. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
That being said, if you're, out there looking to take a redfish home for dinner, it can get a little frustrating if you're on that big school oversized fish, but it's really good to see all those big, healthy breeders in the bay. Now, here's another interesting piece I got from one of the guys I played softball with this weekend. He was out earlier this week on a higher tide late in the day and one of his favorite spots, and he ended up wearing out the 16 to 19 inch fish, which, people are like, oh, catch all them little ones. That stinks. It doesn't stink. It's awesome.
Sign. It's a good sign.
That's a beautiful sign. I tell people all the time when we're in trouble is when in the wintertime, when we're normally fishing the docks for sheephead, if we can't a day or two a week run into a dock line that the sheephead have left because the little rat reds have moved in, and we'll catch 30, 40 little rat reds. I mean, 16 to 18, 19 inches, just one after another. I usually lighten up my tackle when I know they're there and take my customers in there and let them, because they're small redfish, but boy, they still dig and fight if you can lighten that tackle up a little bit. And I say all the time, I'm like, I get it. Everybody wants to catch bigger fish, but if you love our fishery, then you immediately understand that is exactly what we need to see.
And that's exactly
what we need to see.
I'm so pumped right now because we're seeing huge clouds like I've never seen before of 8 to 10 to 12 inch mangrove snapper under our dock. And mixed in with them are baby yellowtail, baby lanes. We're seeing lane snapper everywhere around the dock right now. Clouds of them like mangroves, and it's nuts. I've never seen that before. And yellowtails, baby yellowtails on the dock. That's
crazy.
Yeah. So I'm super excited for years to come. It should be hopefully a great brood stock to spawn into our fishery. So good news.
I've been saying it on the doing the TV show. There's a lot of shows that'll show nothing but big fish, and that's great. And you can do that. You can spend 2 days and just do nothing but show all these great big fish that you catch. I've always been really, really happy. On occasion, obviously, I want to catch big fish just like everybody else. But on those days when you're just in a grind and you're catching small fish, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Whether it's snook, whether it's redfish, whether it's trout, it doesn't matter. All those fish, small flounder, that is the sign, in my opinion, and I'm obviously, just a dumb old kind of of a healthy 8-inch redfish. That's great. We caught a bunch of 17, 18 inches early in the day. That's beautiful. That means we have all those age classes in our estuary, which is what your fishery needs for it to be healthy. So, to me, that's a beautiful thing.
In terms like age class. I'm so proud.
Thank you, buddy. I'm trying to get there. I'm working on it. I'm really tired from the tournament. That's probably why I'm touching some of these buttons.
He let his education slip. He took off the dumb redneck out exterior he tries to put on.
I just wanted you to know that I'm growing from our relationship, my friend.
I'm gonna give you a hug when I see you.
Okay. Don't squeeze me too tight. You're a big guy.
Well, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in, and have a safe drive home, brother. I'll see you Saturday.
All good, my friend. I appreciate the work you're doing, buddy. And how'd it go at Bass Pro? Was it good?
It was awesome. Yeah, conversation went really well. We had a lot of good people there, a lot of first timers, a lot of new people that watch us on Fox 13 came out to the Bass Pro fishing conversation to chat. So it was pretty cool seeing new people, new faces. We had about 43 people there, if I counted tickets right. So that was pretty good, and had a great conversation for sure. So our next Bartow Ford fishing conversation is October 11th with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Scott Moore, correct?
Yeah, Captain Scott Moore is going to join us, and I feel really blessed that he didn't even blink. He's like, man, I'm in. We'll do it. If you want to learn a lot about the fishery, he's been doing it so long. I mean, he just really understands, the movement based on the weather and the wind, and he just is so dialed in to what's going on out there. It should be a real special. I always laugh. I filmed a show with him, and I opened that episode of Real Animals TV without Scott in the camera view. Mm-hmm. And I opened it with, I was looking at the camera and I said, I always wanted to film a show. I always wanted to film one with the guy who wrote the book.
Literally wrote
today,
the book.
I'm going to, this is an episode of me with the guy who wrote the book on catching snook on Florida's West Coast. I mean, he wrote the book. He wrote it, and so many of us live by that book of Captain Scott Moore's, and to be able to have him take time out of his schedule and just come all the way out to Bartow Ford from down there in Anna Maria and give us some of his time. If it's not standing room only, then shame on the listeners, because he is so much knowledge. If you ask him and you're into it and you love our fishery, the man will tell you anything you want to know.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing, and it's going to be awesome. Every time I'm around him, every time my phone rings, he's calling me.
I'm excited.
Yeah. He's just a legend. So we're blessed to have him amongst us and willing to teach us all the things that he knows about our fisheries. So it should be a good one for sure.
I'm going to be in the corner asking questions.
Me too. Absolutely. But every time I get around him, I ask questions. When he calls me on the phone, I let him tell me what he wanted to tell me, and then I ask him questions, because he just goes off and starts talking, and it's a beautiful thing. He's very knowledgeable, as are you, my friend. And I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for covering for me yesterday, and keep up the good work, and have a great night. We'll talk this week.
All right, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
All right, partner. Be good.
See you. Well, as always, appreciate our calls from our good buddy, Capt Mike Anderson, our partner over there at the Real Animals. Want to give a shout out to Dennis Carr for sending some stars, and also Rick Rogers with 1,000 stars during that phone call. Thank you, Rick Rogers. Definitely cool info on the redfish, and as I said, we're seeing a lot of juvenile mangroves too. Someone was asking about where are the redfish. Definitely all about following those freshwater outflows. So we got a lot of rain going on right now. Just had a big rainstorm. So for example, our Johns Pass area, we haven't given away a show yet. Can you pull up Google Maps for me, Josh? Or given away a trip yet? That reminds me. Thank you, Josh. We're going to pull up Google Maps here real quick, and then we'll give away our first free trip of the night. So we're going to pull up Google Maps here real quick. So Johns Pass right here, our favorite fishing spot, the best fishing spot in the world, Hubbard's Marina, inside fish famous Johns Pass. So freshwater outflow for us in Johns Pass would be Long Bayou, right up here. So Long Bayou goes right up into Lake Seminole. And definitely a lot of fresh water from Central Pinellas dumping into this area, Lake Park coming down, but most of it coming from, of course, this region as well, all flushing down around War Veterans Memorial Park. Our good friends that fish out of Johns Pass area a lot work this mangrove shoreline at the VA Park. All across this north shoreline, the west side of the VA Park is a great area to fish. Also, there's a lot of grass beds up here in the Long Bayou area, all at the mouth of their Lake Seminole, basically. Long Bayou, a lot of fresh water, so that's where those redfish are going to be schooling in Johns Pass. So fishing just north of basically Tyrone Boulevard, that Bay Pines boat ramp area, this bridge right here, there is a lot of oyster bars right here. It gets really, really shallow, and there's a KOA campground over here somewhere. I think it's right here, yeah. That is like the coolest KOA campground in the world. Really, really cool spot. Lots of oyster bars, gets super skinny, super shallow, but there's some cuts, there's some channels cut in there. And lots of mangrove. I grew up fishing back there in a kayak, and you can stroke the redfish for sure. So if you're asking where the redfish is, that's where it's at. Look at Dan the fish man freaking out in the comments. Yeah, that's Dan's secret spot right there, boys and girls. Sorry, buddy. Definitely a good area to fish for redfish. So with that, let's go ahead and give away our first free trip of the night. We're going to give away our 10-hour all-day trip first. Our 10-hour all-day trip for 2 people. 10-hour all-day for 2 people. Then we're going to work our way to our 5-hour half-day for 2. Then 39-hour trip for 1. So let's see who won our 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests goes to Jim Watt. Congratulations, Jim Watt from Wesley Chapel. You got the 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. Congratulations, Jim Watt. You got 5 minutes or less to text us at that phone number. Claim that free 10-hour trip for 2 guests. Make sure you text us within 5 minutes right there to claim that free trip. Now, let's get in some more of your questions. First one here. Slow pitch jigging question. How do you decide what color jig to start with, and how long do you work it until you change to a new color? So me personally, I was always kind of under the school of thought that getting comfortable with the jig is more important. Learning how the jig works, keeping contact with the jig, contact with the bottom, not the body. Keeping contact of the jig with the bottom and knowing where that jig is in the water column and how slowly it drops, how quickly it drops, how it's reacting to the manipulation of the rod is most important over the color of the jig. So if you can get confident and comfortable with a jig and get to know its movements and its reactions and try a couple different methods with it, the long fall, the short fall, the slower action, the quicker action, the jig it a few times, reel it up, work it up the water column, bounce it along the bottom, a couple different techniques, changing the techniques up. Like a lot of times I'll start with short falls right on the bottom, working it slow. Then I might do long falls along the bottom, working it slow. Then I might do a couple cranks off the bottom, working it slow. Then I'll do long falls, trying to almost touch the bottom. And then I'll kind of do a quick retrieve and maybe work the first 50 feet off the bottom. And then after that, maybe I'll drop back down to bottom and let it sit for a little bit, really short falls. And after I've worked it